So today we're talking to David Strettle, ex-England international and ex-Saracens, Claremont Harlequins rugby player. And we're going to be talking today about sport and how being outside can have a beneficial effect on mental well-being. And obviously for us as a rugby company and being outdoors, working with the kids, playing rugby together, playing sport together, that's really, really important to us. So I guess, Strets, what I'd like to ask you to start with is what role you thought that sport and indeed being outdoors had on you as a kid?
I think a massive one. I was lucky. I was the younger brother, and my brother was very active, loved his rugby. So when my brother was 8 and I was 5, he started playing for the under-10s. And I think as most parents do when they get one kid out of the house, they take them both. So I ended up doing the rugby training with my brother and loved that. So I'd go every week to that. And then, like I said, my parents were always very keen to let us try different sports. So I started playing football, basketball, a bit of lacrosse when I was a little bit older, did a lot of athletics. I think everyone knows kids are just full of energy, so it's a way to let the kids get out there and use it. And I feel it was definitely a massive chunk of my childhood. And when I look back at all the amazing memories I've had growing up, it's usually orientated around sport. So I think that's been a key role for me in my childhood.
Do you think that the social aspect was important, or would you say just being outside and having an outlet for energy and potentially sort of any pent up energy and pent up emotions? Do you think they both were equal, or do you think that that sport was more important socially than it was sort of energy and emotionally?
I think interesting. It's probably it's probably more important for kids, although ironically they probably don't go out to play rugby to socialise. They go out to play rugby or to play football, but they don't realise at the time they actually are socialising. And I think you see the kids when they get used to obviously sharing, obviously being on a team, having to play around with other kids, that's going to do nothing but good things for them. So I think even though the kids don't realise it, I think it's making massive improvements and helping them in life with regards to socialising people when they get older.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously we have kids starting from 2 years old, and there's definitely, we get kids that come in at 2 and 3 and 4 who have never played sport, never played with that many kids before. And we have a group of say 10 or 12 kids playing rugby together, or playing the games that we play with the rugby ball together, and that definitely you can see as they mature and as they're with us for longer, how that socialization of being with other children really helps them, both in their, I think, mental maturity, but also in just that social interaction which they get out of it. And you just see someone go from someone who's really timid and shy, and as they go, only for after a few weeks, they start smiling and loving being around other kids. And from that social aspect then, and that kind of understanding how to be sociable and being in that sports team, whether it be football, whether it be rugby, whatever it is, those team environments are important. Did that help you as you grew up and went on to further things later in life?
I think so. I think I was always competitive when I was young, and I think that would have come from the sport. And I think if you are, I don't want to say competitive, but you are driven, it's going to help you in life. If you're playing sport every day where there's set goals, literally you've got to go and score a goal, you've got to go and score a try, you're working towards something, you can use that in life. You know what your target is, whether that be at school, you know what grades you want to hit. I think it helps children identify an actual specific purpose that they want to do something with, and they want to go and, be a part of this team. I want to make the grade with this team. I want to make sure I get in the first team at school. People want to be good at things, and that's the great thing about sport. There's a sport for everyone. So if you can go and play rugby, you might not be suited to rugby. You might try football, that might not be for you. You might end up going and playing basketball, and that's a sport you love. And you want to do it more because you're good at it, you enjoy it, and you make friendship groups on that. So I think sport, with all the different facets, that it gives you, it allows you to find something that you do enjoy and you want to do more and more.
It's interesting that obviously talking to an elite sports person like yourself, there's always
retired now.
Retired elite sports person like yourself, should I say? But there's always that interesting element, and I've talked to a number of professionals and ex-professional rugby players about that sport giving you the ability to sort of envisage where you're going. and being at the top. But it's interesting, isn't it? Because of course for us, and you'll have seen lots of people like this, that not everyone makes that grade and not everyone is an elite athlete or an elite sportsman. But I think, and I'd be interested to know your take on this, that sport plays a role for the kids that aren't particularly good at sport as well. I think that sport should be for everyone, and I think that personally, I think it probably helps. So I suppose a question for you would be: you've got 2 young kids. How would you encourage them to do sport if potentially they weren't brilliant at it, and why would you get them to do it?
I think it'll be based on enjoyment. I think every parent wants the kids to do things they enjoy, whether that's sport, whether that's music, whether it's drama, whatever it might be. And I think, like I said, with regards to sport, there's usually a sport that everyone can find something they enjoy in. And I think kids when they're little, I mean, I've got a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, they don't realise they're playing rugby when you give them a rugby ball. They're just kicking something and running around and having fun. So I think as long as you see your kids doing that, that's the most important thing. And I think even at that young age where it is so important for the kids to be socialising, playing sport and doing things and, using up that energy, because they don't really know how to quantify whether they're good at it or not, that's what's so amazing for them. And I think when they do then get older, that's when they can realise and really appreciate the social side of it. I mean, I've always said that I was very, very lucky to have a long career playing rugby. And when I look back at the best memories I've got, it is more based on the friendships. If I go and meet with the boys, we're not talking about when we won European Cups or Premierships or Six Nations, things like that. You're talking about the stupid things, you might have done one training session or when you're on tour somewhere. So again, it boils back down to the friendships and to the relationships you have. So I think that's really the key thing. It allows you, via sport to just make friends for life, really, because most of the lads that I played rugby with at school, I'm still mates with now.
Brilliant. Well, I think that's a great way to end it. I think that's a fantastic point that sport is all about friendship as much as all the other things that it entails. And playing team sports and being outside with a bunch of mates and a bunch of people can really help you. So thank you very much, Dave.
My pleasure.
It's nice to see you again today, and we'll catch up with you again soon, yeah?
Will do. Take care.
Cheers.